Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Water 101 intro webinar series. We are so excited to have you here today. We are going to be talking about Yakima-Tieton Irrigation District today and meeting the managers. I'll let them introduce themselves. But just to let you know, this webinar is meant to be a really quick snapshot overview of the members of the Yakima Basin Joint Board. So it's going to be quick and short, and there'll be some information for how to follow up if you're interested in more details. So I'd like to dive right in. We've got two people with us here today, and I'd love to meet both of you, Rick and Travis. Rick, if you'd like to start, just introduce yourself, that'd be great.
My name's Rick Deeker. I'm the former manager of Yakima-Tieton Irrigation District. I'm retiring in the next couple weeks. I worked as the manager here for 25 plus years, worked for the district for 40 more years, and I have relinquished my position to Travis, who is now the incoming manager. But I've been here. I went to Oregon State University back in the day, and I am retiring after a long, successful career long career with YTID, or Yakima-Tieton Irrigation District, and looking forward to the next part of my life. And I feel like we've left the district in good hands.
Excellent. Thanks, Rick. How about you, Travis?
Well, my name's Travis Oakleberry, and I've been with the district for almost 8 months now. I've been mentoring with Rick Deeker, and it's been a wonderful experience to learn from Rick and just kind of learn my way around the Yakima Basin and Yakima-Tieton and try to pick up as much from him as possible in this mentoring phase that we're in right now. It's been a great transition plan that we developed, and I feel like I'm looking forward to taking over when Rick is done in a couple of weeks.
Excellent. That sounds great. Thank you. All right, I'm going to pull up a screen here. This is a map of Washington State, and I'm wondering, one of the goals of this webinar is to kind of show people, the geographic delineations of kind of the area that we focus on. So I'd love it if one of you can kind of talk about what is on the screen here.
Well, what you're seeing, the outlined area in the center of the screen, is the Yakima River Basin. Encompasses 3 counties. The tributaries, the Natchez, Tieton River on the west side of the basin, and the Yakima. There's 5 storage reservoirs that were built by the United States back at 70 to 100 years ago, and it serves about 400 to 450,000 irrigated acres in the Tri-County area. And we're one of the smaller reclamation districts in the area up on the north and the west portion of that of the basin, on the west end of Yakima County.
Excellent. Thanks, Rick. And now kind of focusing in on the basin a little bit, I'd love to hear about what we're looking at here as we kind of zoom in.
Well, you can see the different irrigation districts mentioned. These are all members of the Yakima Basin Joint Board. We work together to work on the irrigation issues and water issues within the Yakima Basin. You've got the Kittitas Reclamation District, Natchez. You can see them on the screen. Yakima-Tieton, which is where we are on the left-hand side there, in the middle of the screen. Then you got Sela-Moxie, City of Yakima, Rosa, Sunnyside District, and then Columbia Irrigation District down in the lower part of the valley. And we're members, in Yakima Basin Joint Board's been in existence since the 80s. And we work together on these water right issues that affect us both in and around the district and at a state level as well.
Excellent. Thanks, Rick. And kind of zooming into looking at just your district here, I'd love to hear a little bit about your district and how it's different than the other districts, and just some interesting kind of facts about who you serve and what's
well. We serve our service area is 28,000 acres. Within our boundaries, you can see our boundaries there. The boundaries itself cover about 35,000 acres total. We serve predominantly orchards, mostly high density 75% of our acreage is in high density fruit, apples, pears, cherries, but mostly very varietal of apples, some wine grapes, some grapes, and then we have residential and what I like to call ranchette, smaller acreages, pasture, some hay. So our district was first delivered water in 1910. So we've been in business for 114 years, one of the first reclamation projects in the basin. First one to pay off its debt service to the United States, which is a whole other thing. But so we've been at it for quite a while. We've developed over time, over that century plus of operation.
All right, thank you. That's a great explanation. And I'd love to hear about how Yakima-Tieton Irrigation District is connected to and interfaces with the Yakima Basin Integrated Plan. And if you could give us a quick recap of what the integrated plan is and how you work with it, that'd be great.
Well, the integrated plan started about 2008, 2009. We were one of the founding members representing the irrigation districts. Our district is primarily a senior right district, which means that about 75% of our water is what they call non-proratable, and then the balance is what they call proratable or has a junior designation. We entered into the process to help enhance the overall water supply to the basin for all the stakeholders' needs, both irrigation districts, fish, Native American issues, environmental issues. We've all come together. And so we represent part of the senior rights on the integrated plan board. And we have done quite a bit to contribute for some fishery benefits and as well as conservation improvements and those things over the last 20, 30 years. And then this is just the next step in the watershed planning process to protect the water and as the resources change over time.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, I know you're probably working on a lot of projects coming up in 2024 and beyond, and I'd love to hear about kind of what's on your plate right now and, what are you looking at in the future for things you're going to be focusing on in the next couple of years?
So Travis, what do you think you're going to be working on in the next couple of years?
Well, right away, we're in the middle of trying to raise our reservoir, French Canyon, 5 feet to give us more storage capacity and give us some operational flexibility that we don't currently have. Outside of that, we've embarked on an appraisal study to evaluate alternatives to replace our main canal. That's 12 miles long, includes 3 miles of tunnels, and it's perched on the side of a cliff in the Tieton Canyon. It's very inaccessible, and we've had a lot of folks look at it to give us some ideas on how they would replace it and how they would maybe repair it, but it's a challenge because of its location, and there are no good answers. That's why it's taken 10 years now. We've evaluated just about every alternative that's imaginable, and I would say that we're going to continue to try to find a solution that's affordable, that's practical, and that will get us through for another 100 years.
Yeah, and hopefully we have an alternative before the integrated plan group to help us partner with them to hopefully move that forward where we could enhance our main canal or upgrade our main canal to make it a more user-friendly for not only the district, but also be able to be a delivery canal for a future reservoir site called the North Fork Reservoir, which would be above our existing. So we're hoping to add some storage, maybe up to 35,000 acre feet in the future. So it's a 2-phase project that we are on the very ground, on the ground floor of is at this point. Maybe Travis, you want to talk about some of the existing infrastructure projects that we got going at the district as well with our delivery system?
You mean as far as the hydros and
the hydros and the pumps and those kind of things?
We've got a lot of pump stations. We've got 2 hydros. And so trying to maintain our pressurized system and upgrade our pumps and upgrade the control systems at our hydros is an ongoing maintenance challenge that we're undertaking, and we budget in every year. to try to upgrade our control systems to optimize our controls. And so between our hydros and pump stations and some of our bigger valves, our pressure reducing valves and delivery valves and turnouts, we've got a lot of projects that are ongoing right now.
Yeah, one of the unique things about our district is our delivery system, except for our main canal, is all buried pressurized pipeline. We have about 900 to 1,000 feet of elevation difference from one end of the district to the other, which creates pressure, which creates enough ability to what we call head to deliver water at 60 pounds per square inch to the individual delivery. And so in the 80s, the district went from an open canal system to a pressurized system with some money from the federal government, a low interest loan, and some also grants and loans monies from the state of Washington. And this is in 1980 dollars of about 78 million. And so the district went from being 70% efficient or even less to almost 95+% efficient. So that distribution system's been in place for almost 35 years, fed by that 114-year-old main canal, which is our next phase. We couldn't afford to change that. So our district has paid off its debt service to the United States twice. They built it originally in 1906 to 1910. We paid it off in 1947, and then we took out another no interest loan from the United States under a program called Rehabilitation and Betterment, and paid that off as well in 1989, and then we paid off a bond issue in 2017. So we have a long history of repaying our debt, and so I think we're the only reclamation project in the United States that's done it twice. So that's an accomplishment there. Anyway.
Wonderful. Yeah. Thanks. That's great info. Anything else that you'd like to mention about your district, some of the unique aspects of it, or just anything else on the horizon you want to mention before we?
Well, one of the unique things about our district is we do have hydropower. We have 2 hydropower stations that are in line, that are part of our system. So we generate, we have a capacity up to 3 megawatts, which is very unusual for Washington irrigation districts. We're a small hydro producer, and we sell to the local power company, Pacific Core, and we've been doing that for 35 plus years. So about 10% of our revenue comes from hydropower, not just assessing our water users, but from hydropower, depending on the year. And then we also have an interest from a power plant at one of the reservoirs, Tieton Dam. And it has a power plant on it that we originally had a license for, but it was sold off or transferred to a private developer or private company. And now we get a royalty off that. So that also contributes to our water or assessments we don't have to put on our water users. So as I said, about 10% of our revenue comes from hydropower. So that's pretty unique. Not a lot of districts are like that.
I think another thing that we do is that's sort of, aside from irrigation, is the supplementation that we do, the creek supplementation in Cowiche Creek. And we're wheeling water into that creek for fish enhancement. It's a project that we did. When was that, Rick?
2013, we started delivering.
2013, and we're looking to continue that.
Yeah, there was 400 acres that was taking water out of the stream, that was diverting water out of the stream, and now we wheeled it, or we carry it through our system and deliver that water to them under pressure, and they leave their water in stream for fishery benefits. It's critical habitat for steelhead. There's also salmon, but it's put 8 to 15 CFS back in the creek full time, depending on the time of year. And so that was this was kind of a side thing from the integrated plan, but that was a community effort, or where we all came together under the same kind of idea as the integrated plan, where rather than being in court or fighting with or having disagreements with people that have common interests, we tried to sit down and figure out how we could all benefit. And so it's been a positive, well-regarded project. So it's been in existence for almost 12 years now.
And I think they're seeing benefits from that, right, Rick?
Yep.
In the creek, yeah.
Yeah, in the creek, we've got coho salmon that spawn and rear there, as well as steelhead. So it's helped that, and we're looking to possibly add to that as well with French Canyon. There might be some more enhancement that we can do. So that's just that kind of that goes along with what we're doing with the IP. Hopefully That's on a small scale, but the same idea of coming together with the stakeholders and working with, the Yakima Nation and the county and the soil conservation, or NRCS, I should say, and all the stakeholders, the individual landowners, and even though they weren't in our district. So Reclamation, Department of Ecology, you can name all of them, Department of Fish and Wildlife, all those where we have been adversarial in the past with some of the fishery folks. We're now working for a positive, for where we all gain. Not everybody gets what they want, but everybody gains something. And that's, rather than do that, let's spending money on lawyers or in court, let's put some projects on the ground that can help everybody.
Oh, that's great. Well, it sounds like there's a lot to celebrate with the work that you've done. And Rick, as I understand, you've been there for about 44 years.
44 years plus.
That's amazing. And
Yeah.
I'd love to hear about what are a couple things that you're most proud of from your time at Yakima-Tieton and your career in general.
Well, I think I started, from the ground up. I came right out of college. I have a degree in egg engineering technology from Oregon State. And I started with the district before they put any pipelines in. They transitioned from the open canal to the pressurized system. And I was in the ground floor of that. I was there during all the construction and dealing with the water users and that changeover, which is now 30 plus years ago. And that was the start of my career. And so I grew up with the system. And then I worked my way up to being assistant manager for a number of years. And then in 98, I became the manager. So I think one thing is I have been the longest tenured manager, or the longest serving manager that Yakima-Tieton's ever had. So I feel like that's an accomplishment. That's something I'm proud of, that I've been able to stay here and maintain the system and hopefully upgrade it and work towards a positive result for our water users, keeping prices at a reasonable level, but also trying to work within the constraints that we've had, because farming and agricultural economies goes up and down. So I think just the career that I've been here, I've been at the same place my whole career at different places, but so I've had great relationships and good people to work with. And like I've said before, most irrigation district managers it's not just a paycheck, it's a calling. We're stewards of a precious resource, which is water, and nothing happens without the water. You don't have an economy, you don't have agriculture, you don't have other things without the water. And so that's where it all starts. And so I feel like I've been blessed with that, and I've been humbled to be able to serve in that capacity. And I'll miss a lot of the people and stuff. I'm not going to be gone, but it's time for a transition. And I think Travis is bringing some fresh ideas and fresh perspective, and from his experience in other areas in public service. And I think we're going to leave the district in a good place. So I'm real happy about that. I'm grateful for the opportunity the board's given us to have a 8-9 month transition period, which has been very helpful.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks, Rick. And congratulations. And
Yeah.
Travis, what are you most looking forward to?
Just trying to carry on from where Rick's leaving off. These are big shoes to fill, as you can tell listening to Rick. He's very passionate about what he's done through his career, and it is impressive to see that kind of loyalty and commitment. You just don't see that at all anymore. And so, it's been very helpful to mentor with him and learn as much as I've been able to in these past 8 months. I can't imagine how long it would have taken me to get up to speed with where I am now, if I hadn't had that opportunity with Rick. So just trying to continue to deliver affordable water, consistent, reliable water to our users, and deal with our aging infrastructure in a way that's, practical and economical. It's going to be a challenge, but that's kind of why I'm here. This is what I was looking for when I made the career change. And so I feel like I'm at the place where I'm supposed to be. And I'm grateful that I've had the opportunity to mentor with Rick, and looking forward to seeing, the future just as solid as it's been with Rick's long tenure.
Well, Travis was able to, one side note, the manager that hired me, his name was Warren Dickman, and he He's 93 years old, and he came to my open house retirement last week, and Travis was able to meet him, and he got to hear some of the stories about my start at the district. But he was the manager, and then they had and there was one between him and myself, but he was here, and he still, you know, that was he mentored me and got me started, and I appreciated him coming, and I think if there's any way that I could pass any of those lessons on, even though to new generations, they think differently than my generation per se, but yet we have to adapt and we have to find the common area. And I think, you know, it's time to let the next generation, even though Travis and I aren't that far apart. I'm a little bit older. I've been through a different time, and it's I think we're in good hands. And so I'm looking forward to my change, but I think board of directors is very supportive, and I think Travis is going to do a great job.
Thanks, Rick.
Excellent. Well, thank you both. That was amazing information and very helpful to get a sense of Yakima-Tieton Irrigation District and your operations. So for those of you listening, if you're interested to learn more about the members of the Yakima Basin Joint Board, you can access it via the URL here or the QR code. If you'd like to reach Rick or Travis, or I guess Rick until later this month in February 2024 when we're recording, and then Travis, you can access information, contact info via the URL here, Yakima-Tieton-Irrigation.com. And just want to thank everyone for watching today, and thank you both again for attending. It's been really great to spend this time with you, and hope everyone has a great rest of their week.